Hi everyone! This video is the first in a series of 4 tutorial videos. In each video I will introduce one of the 4 modes of Pyramid. The first 2 modes, live and step, are composition modes. The track mode will enable you to manage precisely all the parameters of your 64 tracks, and the sec mode will allow you to assemble these tracks to build songs. In this video, we will be focusing on the live mode, which will enable you to perform and record your tracks on the fly, using real-time Midi effects and what we call Smartpads. Smartpads only exist in the live mode. They will perform different actions depending on the sub-mode you're into. You will find 3 different sub-modes in the live mode. The first one is the chord sub-mode, but I will get back to it in a minute. The second one is the note repeat, when you can trick some note repetitions. The last one is the scale mode, in which you'll find various pre-programmed scales. But let's get back to the chord mode. I press this to have a detailed view of this sub-mode. As you can see, we indicated the tonality of the selected harmonized scale and all its degrees. Each one corresponds to a Smartpad. The rest of the pads will always behave like a regular piano keyboard in this mode. I can scroll through the different inversions by clicking the encoder while turning. I press these arrow keys to change the octave, and holding second while rotating will alter the tonality. These are the 2 chords I've chosen, a C major and a C minor. Before recording, I will add a little quantize to get my timing straight. I press FX, then I fill the first effect slot with a quantizer. This quantize is not destructive, so I can choose to disable it later on if I want to. The default setting suits my needs, so I will let it as it is and as a second effect. This time, I will choose a swing to match the shuffle of my drum track. We are now ready to record. I arm the track by pressing Rec and then Play. The recording will start after a 4-bar count. I can press second plus undo to cancel my last action. In this case, the recording I just made. Pressing it a second time will redo the last action. I can now record the second chord in overdub by pressing Rec. I will now record a pretty simple bass line using an external controller. Let's select track 3 by holding track and pressing pad 3. I want to make a few edits on what I just recorded. First, let's add a little quantize and a swing, as I did before with the first track. Let's press step and display to see the piano roll. I can see the note I just recorded. By default, the step pads will only display the selected note. If I press Rec, I switch to mono mode, which means that now the pads will display every note recorded. The step mode will be covered precisely in another video. For now, I just want to focus on my live recording and especially on the possibility to edit precisely the recording I just made. These edits include adding or deleting notes, modifying their lengths, their velocities, etc. Here, I'm not quite satisfied with the velocity of the bass notes I just recorded. By pressing velocity and the row I want to edit, I can adjust the value of velocity I want on this note. I will now record a lead part with my SH101. I'm selecting the track 4 by holding track and pressing the pad 4. And I set this track with a length of 8 bars to add a little variety. As before, let's add a little quantize and a swing with the same parameters. This time, I will also add an arpeggiator. I can invert the order of the swing and the arpeggiator by holding second and scrolling with the main encoder. I can assign some of the parameters of the arpeggiator to the touchpad to perform the effects live and even record them. Let's hold the Assign button while swiping the X-axis of the touchpad. The Assign menu appears. I select Effect Param and the number of my track, 4. Then I choose the arpeggiator and finally the parameter gate. I will repeat the operation, except this time I will assign the rate parameter on the Y-axis of the touchpad. Finally, I will add the last assignation on the drum track I previously recorded, track 1. This time, while I hold Assign, I will turn on encoder and select the CC number 58, which is in my case a sort of filter. All I have to do now is record with overdub this effect on the drum track by pressing Rec. I can also record the harp effect automation on the lead track 4 by selecting the track 4 and pressing Rec.